If you're looking for the fastest way to understand biohacking for longevity, you've come to the right place.
We're going to break down those scientifically backed lifestyle changes that could help you live longer,
And not just add years to your life.
but really add more life to your years.
We're talking about biohacking.
Exactly. Those modifications you make to your daily habits.
With the goal of optimizing your health and maybe living longer.
It's about taking charge of your well-being.
Our goal today is to cut through all the noise in the biohacking world.
There are so many trends out there
And we want to focus on 5 strategies
that are really backed by science.
to potentially help you live longer.
And these are based on the insights of Dr. Chinta Siddharthan.
Although the research is really compelling,
It is important to remember.
we're still learning about the long-term implications of biohacking
This is about understanding the potential,
for a longer, healthier life.
not necessarily about overnight miracles. Let's start with,
Let's jump into intermittent fasting.
you've probably heard of it.
What?
And how can it help us live longer?
Yeah, what's the big idea?
So intermittent fasting is cycling between periods of eating
Okay.
and not eating.
Right.
And the idea is
What's
that this pattern
Yeah.
helps your metabolism adapt.
Okay.
And this can trigger something called autophagy,
Autophagy.
which is like your cell's recycling program.
Got it.
And it can also reduce oxidative stress,
Uh-huh.
and it improves how your body uses insulin.
So it's like your cell's cleanup crew,
Exactly.
triggered by not eating.
That's the idea.
How does this work?
Biologically,
Yeah.
a key mechanism is the metabolic switch.
Okay.
So when you fast, your body changes from burning glucose for energy
Makes sense.
to burning ketone bodies.
Ketone bodies.
And this switch has been linked to better mitochondrial function,
Mitochondria.
the powerhouses of your cells.
I remember that from biology class.
So fasting helps them run more efficiently.
Wow.
And it can also decrease inflammation.
It's amazing that not eating can have such a huge effect on your cells.
It really is remarkable.
So beyond the cellular level,
Yeah.
what do studies say about the bigger picture when it comes to our health?
The research suggests that intermittent fasting could lower the risk of some major age-related problems,
Like what?
like metabolic disorders,
Yeah.
cardiovascular diseases,
Uh-huh.
and even neurodegenerative conditions.
Really?
It also seems to have a big impact on your gut microbiota.
That's the bacteria in our gut, right?
Exactly. Trillions of microorganisms
Yeah.
that are essential for your immune system
Okay.
and keeping inflammation in check.
So gut health is really important.
It's crucial for overall health.
What about the connection between fasting and our genes?
That's a fascinating area.
Yeah.
Emerging research is looking at how intermittent fasting affects your genes,
Okay.
specifically genes related to longevity.
Interesting.
It seems like fasting can activate sirtuins,
Sirtuins.
which are proteins involved in cellular repair,
So they help our cells stay healthy.
and they're involved in the aging process itself.
So we're basically flipping a switch that protects our cells.
That's a good way to put it.
It seems like we still have a lot to learn.
We do. There's so much more research to be done.
Right.
What are the best fasting durations?
Yeah.
How often should people fast?
Yeah.
And what are the most effective approaches?
So we need more research to really figure out how to maximize the benefits.
Exactly. We need more long-term studies.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, is it?
Definitely not.
Who should be cautious about trying intermittent fasting?
If you have certain metabolic disorders,
Okay.
you're pregnant, or have a history of eating disorders,
Yeah.
you should absolutely talk to your doctor
Right.
before you even think about trying it.
Safety first.
Always.
So the future of intermittent fasting research is about personalizing recommendations.
Exactly. Tailoring fasting strategies based on your genes,
Okay.
your lifestyle,
Got it.
and your health conditions.
So finding what works best for each person.
That's the goal.
Okay, let's move on to something that might sound a little less conventional for longevity.
Okay.
Cold exposure therapy.
Like ice baths and cryotherapy.
That sounds intense.
It can be.
So what's the idea behind this?
The key concept here is hormesis,
Hormesis.
which means that exposing yourself to a mild stressor,
Okay.
like cold in this case,
Right.
can actually trigger beneficial adaptations in your body.
It's like giving your body a little wake-up call.
Exactly. It makes things stronger.
And one of the main effects is the activation of brown adipose tissue, or BA.
Which is brown fat.
But isn't all fat bad?
Well, brown fat is different from white fat.
Okay.
It's metabolically active.
Meaning?
It helps your body produce heat.
So it burns energy.
Yes. It enhances your metabolic efficiency.
So being cold can actually help you burn more calories.
That's right.
Are there other benefits of cold exposure when it comes to longevity?
Research suggests that it can affect your immune system in a good way.
Oh, okay.
It seems to modulate immune function, potentially reducing inflammation throughout the body.
And inflammation is linked to aging, right?
Exactly. Chronic inflammation is a big factor in many age-related diseases.
So reducing inflammation could be a really important benefit for longevity.
That's what the research suggests.
People often talk about feeling great after an ice bath.
Right.
Is there a biological reason for that?
Yes. Cold exposure increases norepinephrine levels, a
Norepinephrine.
hormone and neurotransmitter.
What does that do?
It improves your mood,
Okay.
boosts cognitive function,
Uh-huh.
and makes you more resilient to stress.
So that invigorating feeling is because of norepinephrine.
It seems likely.
Does cold exposure have any benefits for our heart health?
Some studies suggest that it could improve cardiovascular health
Really?
by improving vascular function and circulation.
So it's like a workout for your blood vessels.
In a way, yes,
But jumping into ice-cold water sounds pretty extreme.
it can be.
Are there any risks?
Yes, there are definitely risks to consider. Like too much cold exposure can be harmful,
Right.
and it can lead to hypothermia.
And for people with heart conditions,
It could put extra strain on their cardiovascular system.
that's important to know.
It is, so you need to start gradually.
Oh.
You can start by taking cold showers
Oh.
or using ice packs on certain areas.
And then eventually try an ice bath.
Exactly.
Right.
But always pay attention to your body.
That's good advice.
If something feels wrong, stop.
So we need more research to figure out the best way to use cold exposure for longevity.
Yes, we need to know the ideal duration,
Okay.
how often to do it,
Right.
and the right intensity.
To get the most benefits with the least risk.
Exactly.
It's all about finding that sweet spot.
Yes, finding that balance.
Okay, let's move on to something a little more internal.
Sounds good.
Nutrigenomics and supplements.
This is about how our genes and diet interact.
Right, so how our genes affect how our bodies use the nutrients we eat.
Exactly. And this understanding can lead to personalized nutrition strategies.
And when we're talking about longevity,
Yes,
there are some compounds that are particularly interesting,
there are.
like NMN and resveratrol.
Those come up a lot.
They do. What's the science behind them?
So NMN, or nicotinamide mononucleotide,
Okay.
boosts NAD plus levels in the body.
NAD+. plus.
It's a coenzyme that's vital for your mitochondria
Right, those cellular powerhouses.
and for cellular repair.
And NAD+ plus levels decrease as we age.
They do. So the idea is that taking NMN could help counteract that.
Interesting.
And resveratrol, which you find in red
I
wine,
curve that.
has been linked to the activation of sirtuins.
The proteins we talked about earlier.
Right, the ones that are involved in extending lifespan.
So should we all be drinking more red wine and taking NMN supplements?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
While these compounds are promising,
Yeah.
it's not a simple answer.
Right.
We also need to think about polyphenols,
Polyphenol.
which are found in berries,
Okay.
green tea,
Uh-huh.
and even dark chocolate.
So,
They have powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties.
which can help us age healthily.
That's the idea.
And what about the bacteria in our gut, the microbiome?
The microbiome is hugely
How
important.
does it relate to nutrigenomics and longevity?
It plays a vital role in how your body processes nutrients,
Okay.
and it has a massive impact on your overall health.
So a healthy gut is key for a long life.
It seems so.
What about more common supplements like omega-3 fatty acids or vitamin D?
Those are important too.
Do they play a role in longevity?
Absolutely. Omega-3s,
Okay.
vitamin D,
Uh-huh.
and magnesium are all being recognized as key nutrients for longevity.
Interesting.
Studies have linked them to a lower risk of chronic diseases.
So it seems like supplements can be helpful,
They can be.
but it's really about knowing what your body needs.
Exactly. You should talk to your doctor
Okay.
to figure out which supplements are right for you
Right?
and how much to take.
Because taking too much can be bad.
It's crucial to be informed.
And to personalize your approach.
Exactly.
So let's talk about something that's a part of our everyday lives.
Okay.
Sleep and our circadian rhythms.
Sleep is essential.
It is, how does it affect longevity?
Quality sleep is absolutely crucial for living a longer, healthier life.
We all know we need to sleep.
But it's more than that.
Okay.
Disrupted sleep is linked to a much higher risk of heart disease,
Wow.
cognitive decline,
Mm-hmm.
and metabolic disorders.
It's serious.
It is. And melatonin, the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycles,
Right.
is also involved in sleep quality.
So it's not just about the number of hours we sleep.
It's about the quality of that sleep.
So how can we improve our sleep for longevity?
The most important thing is consistency.
Okay.
Go to bed and wake up around the same time each day.
Makes sense.
And minimize your exposure to artificial light at night.
Especially blue light from screens.
Exactly. That can really disrupt your sleep.
What about getting natural light during the day?
That's crucial too.
How does that help?
It helps regulate your melatonin production,
Okay.
which strengthens your internal clock.
So getting sunlight in the morning is a good thing.
It can lead to better hormonal balance and better metabolic efficiency,
What about those classic tips for better sleep?
like reducing caffeine,
Yeah.
making sure your bedroom is dark and quiet,
Right.
and having a relaxing bedtime routine.
Those still apply.
They absolutely do. All those little things can make a big difference.
What's the connection between sleep and Alzheimer's disease?
Poor sleep has been linked to higher levels of beta amyloid,
Okay.
which is a protein that's a sign of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's.
So lack of sleep could contribute to Alzheimer's.
That's what the research suggests.
And it's not just the quantity of sleep, it's the quality.
Exactly. Deep sleep is particularly important.
Why is that?
It helps regulate metabolism,
Okay.
supports immune function,
Uh-huh.
and even helps detoxify the brain.
So getting enough deep sleep is crucial.
It seems,
And future research will continue to explore the connection between sleep and longevity.
I'm sure it will.
Okay, let's move on to our final topic,
Great.
neuroplasticity and cognitive health.
We all want to stay sharp as we age.
We do. What can we do to support our brain health?
Well, the good news is that our brains can adapt and change throughout our lives.
That's neuroplasticity, right?
Exactly. And there are things we can do to boost it.
Like what?
Things like meditation,
Meditation?
brain training exercises,
Okay.
and even nootropic compounds.
So meditation can help our brains?
It can. Meditation has been shown to reduce stress-related neuroinflammation.
And chronic stress is bad for the brain.
It is, so meditation can be very beneficial.
What about nootropics?
There are substances that are thought to enhance cognitive function.
Like what?
Some are experimental, but even caffeine has been shown to have cognitive benefits.
Really?
Yes, but it's important to do your research before taking any nootropics.
Right.
Some can have side effects.
And what about exercise?
Exercise is great for brain health.
How so?
Both aerobic and resistance training have been linked to neurogenesis.
The growth of new brain cells.
Exactly. And overall improved brain health.
So what's good for the body is good for the brain.
It seems that way.
Are there any high-tech ways to boost cognitive longevity?
Researchers are exploring things like neurofeedback
Okay.
and brain-computer interfaces
Wow.
for their potential to enhance cognitive function.
That sounds pretty futuristic.
It does, but it's still early days.
So a lot more research to be done.
Yes, definitely.
It seems clear that biohacking offers a really promising way to live longer and healthier lives.
It does, but it's important to be smart about it,
Right.
to make informed decisions based on scientific evidence.
And we've talked about 5 key areas:
Intermittent fasting,
cold exposure,
Nutrigenomics,
neuroplasticity.
and they all have a solid foundation in science.
They do, but we're still learning.
So what's next for biohacking?
Well, future research needs to focus on tailoring these strategies
Okay.
to individuals, so personalizing the approach.
Exactly what works for one person might not work for another.
So the takeaway is that embracing a holistic approach
One that's grounded in science.
is the best way to go.
I think so,
So biohacking can help us live longer and healthier lives.
if we're smart about it.
And if we keep learning and adapting as new research emerges,
That's right.
and we'll keep you updated on all the latest developments.
I will.